G'day mates, in today's video I'm going to cover everything you need to know about the $2 million LAN event that is taking place on Fortnite over the next 4 days. Some of the biggest pros from around the world like Vino, Aqua, Clicks, Dukes, they've all been invited. They're all attending and you may not have heard about it because this tournament has had some of the weirdest marketing and organization we've ever seen. So I'm going to cover all the questions. When's it on? How can you watch it? What are the rules? What's the format? How are they breaking down the $2 million prize pool? I'm also going to talk about some of my predictions of which teams I think will do well, where they're dropping, and as always, basically everything you need to know, including some interesting new rules around penalties and toxicity. If pros tweet out toxicity towards each other about the event, they could potentially be fined or even disqualified from the entire event. There's a lot of crazy stuff to talk about. Let's just jump into it. Let's kick off talking about the format. It is going to take place over the next 4 days starting today as of this video going live. Games are going to start at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time, so wherever that is in the world for you. As far as watching it, I'll be live twitch.tv/Aussie Antics covering all the action as always. There will be an official broadcast, but I'm not exactly sure what channel that's going to be on, so you can swing by, watch along with me if you want to. As far as the actual format, it is going to be 6 games each day, 12 games per tournament. So it's just like FNCS Grand Finals. It's going to be 12 games over 2 days. So you're going to have the most consistent team. And when there's $2 million on the line, first place getting $250,000 and last place getting at least $5,000, you want to make sure the most consistent team and the best team is winning it. This is a massive tournament. As far as the format, it is the same for builds and no builds. Top 35 is going to give you 4 points, and then every placement inside top 24, you're going to get 1 point until the win gets you an extra 3, and each elim is worth 2. So it's a pretty placement heavy format, and especially getting that top 4 points really early on. If you're contested on spawn and you're consistently missing that 4 points and those extra placement points, it is going to start to be a little bit rough. But if you win the spawn fight, 4 points, it's looking pretty good. Now, looking at the drop maps, who's playing and some of the big names, this was NA East Comp Report. He sent me the list of all the confirmed duos, so shout out to him. He also gave his top 10 predictions, and I thought I'd show them here as I think they are actually really, really good predictions. As you can see, there's some really big names you'd expect. Kami Seti at the top, Tayson and Thomas HD. This is for 2 main reasons. In my opinion, I'm also backing them as my top 2. Firstly, Thomas HD, Kami, and Seti have both been playing no builds and playing it really, really well. Tayson I'm not too sure about, but at the same time, it's Tayson. He'll adapt to absolutely anything. You combine that with the aim that all 4 of these pros have and the game sense. They are 4 very smart veteran teams who have played for hundreds of thousands of dollars before and kept their composure. It's pretty hard to go past them as the favorites. It is 0 builds at the end of the day, so it's going to be pretty rough as far as that portion goes. When it comes to the actual build tournament, I've got to say I'm actually feeling pretty similar for both these teams to be the favorites for the builds as well. It might be crazy where we see potentially either of these teams win both of them. Again, they're going up against some of the best in the world, but a lot of these teams have been mixed and matched. As you can see, Janice and Kanata are playing together, so we've got some weird mix-ups between NA and EU. And if you guys remember at DreamHack, Kanata and Janice were kind of going at it. Kanata actually almost got thrown out of the venue because he was being so toxic towards Janice, which Kanata's going to have to call at this tournament. I know he's not up against Janice, but I'm going to talk a little bit later about how there are actually fines and potential disqualification for any toxicity, not just at the venue, but also on social media and Twitter. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So the reason why I have Kami, Seti, Tayson, and Thomas so highly, same as NA's Comp Report, is just because they are 2 duos who've played together a lot. Kami and Seti are current duo. Tayson and Thomas no longer playing together, but they have in the past and they've shown a lot of potential. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm obviously going to be biased towards EU and NA East. They have sent most of the pros. There are a lot of Middle East pros going and playing though, and a lot of them I don't know too much about. So I really hope we do see a home team show up massive. It could be kind of crazy to see it on their own region. I don't know. I've never seen a lot of these international players go up against a big contingent of Middle East players. The Middle East players who went to DreamHack were very, very impressive when I watched them. So I guess we'll have to see. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. We do have insane teams like Aqua, Vino. We have Pink and Anas, Zandy and Chapix, Hen and Queasy. We've got really, really big teams. Now, NA, you've got Clicks and Dukes. You've got some of the other big names out there as well. We have random teams like Malibuka and Epic Whale. So it is going to be a bit crazy to see how they all go. As far as the drop maps, now this is for the build event. I'm not going to show the drop map for no build because I think that's going to change quite a lot. And again, let's be honest, mostly what we focus here on the channel is going to be the building portion of competitive Fortnite. Now, some big spots to to look out for. We have Threads and Macwood going up against Frosty and Redley over the Chonkers. I'm excited to see how that one goes. Threads and Macwood is a pretty scary team. We have Arkram and Falcon. Remember, Arkram now making his return back to Fortnite. He has retired, but he's not going to turn down the chance to play for $2 million, going up against King and Siyun. So we got the Brazilian guys here. I'm very intrigued to see how that fight goes and whether we see some World Cup King action where he just comes out and keys everybody. We very rarely get a chance to see international teams go up against the Brazilian players. And remember, the last time we saw King, he won the NRG Zone Wars event. So his mechanics we know hold up against the rest. So I'm excited to see how that one plays out. We have Creo and Ron. Yes, that is the Ron you're thinking of. Creo and Ron going up against Rescard and Kovacs, Kroggy from EU. So we're going to have a bit of NA on EU action over there at Sleepy. Now, you'll notice this isn't the full team list. It's because there were qualifiers that took place yesterday. So a lot of the teams aren't on the map yet as they haven't picked a drop spot. But right now, Kami and Seti have uncontested Kami split, and Tayson and Thomas have uncontested south side of Covert. That's a pretty big winning formula for me. That's the two drop spots both of them know very, very well. Meanwhile, we have Edgy and Acorn going up against Bad Sniper and Mustache over at Tilted. We have Dukes and Clicks locking down Joneses, which I was quite surprised to see. I thought Pink and Anas might be dropping on Dukes and Clicks. They've decided against it. They're going Sunny Steps way. So in my opinion, a worse drop, but I guess we'll see. We have Vidil and Amar. Again, the viewing party GOAT. He's been competing more and more. He's showing up on the big stage. He's going to at least be able to earnings check a bunch of people with the $5 grand he gets for last, but Vidil and Amar could kind of go crazy here, especially in the no builds. I'm really interested to see how they go. Janice and Kanata have locked down Greasy Grove by just sheer virtue of being the two big names that go greasy on each region. Combining, they're going to get greasy to themselves. Dubs and Bizzle actually locking down the Butter Barn. We got a bit of a phase duo there to see how that one plays out. There's a lot of big drops here. Aquavino, in my opinion, getting a less than expected drop. I really thought they would get a better POI for being the EU FNCS champions, but they do get the grapple glove, and teams have done very well for that. But as you can see, Janice and Kanata also pretty keen to get their hands on the grapple glove as well. Hen and Queasy are going to be going Shifty, which is where Queasy and Vino have been going and finding insane success throughout this season. So seeing Hen and Queasy back together will be a lot of fun. Knight and Rogue Shark getting Uncon Logjam. I was a bit surprised to see that. I think if teams want to play aggressive, that might be a team they're looking to drop on just because Knight has been retired for so long. But I can't talk about every drop spot, but as you can see, it's going to be spicy. I'll come back to talking about what software the pros are allowed to use for like double movement and what hardware they could bring, like keyboard and mice, but I want to talk about what they're doing with penalties, because this is very different and we've never seen this done via Fortnite before. So prize deductions due to penalty points. For every minor penalty point, a 1% overall prize money deduction will occur. For every major penalty point, a 10% overall prize money deduction will occur. Now, what is going to be penalized? So we can go through the list. There's a whole bunch of different options around cheating, match manipulation, all that kind of stuff, but the one that I found most interesting was insults. All insults occurring in connection with the Gamers 8 2022 participants, including all players, coaches, tournament organizers, and all staff present on the event, will be punished with 6 minor to 1 major penalty points. Particularly severe abuse cases with radical statements or the threat of physical violence can result in significantly heavier penalties, including the exclusion or to the deletion of the player or the coach. Now, that wording, not great. What I imagine they mean is the fact that the players or the coach will be banned from the tournament. They will be disqualified. They will not get any of the prize money, but even a relatively minor can lead up to 1 major penalty point. That's 10% of the earnings. 10% can be taken away of someone who wins 250,000 if they are too toxic and they insult people. Now, it says around the event. So that doesn't mean at the event. That could also mean on social media during or after the event. So it's gonna be really, really interesting to see how that plays out. Remember, like I said, at DreamHack, we had Kanata be told by staff that they would kick him out of the tournament and disqualify him if he kept being too toxic towards Janice. They're now playing together. I'm sure Kanata's going to calm down, but players are loud. I don't know if you've been to any of the LAN events, DreamHack or any of that. I got the chance to go recently. These guys get heated, especially the EU players. They get angry, they slam their desk, they yell, they swear. They've got to be really, really careful to lock it down because they could get at worst disqualified for that, or at best lose at least a portion of their prize prize pool. And again, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Is this a good thing? Do you think Epic should continue this going forward with maybe their own tournaments? These are the rules, I should state, that aren't being put forward by Epic. This is being put forward by Gamers8, who are running the event. But we could maybe see other tournament organizers or Fortnite themselves adopting similar rules, where instead of maybe just having it where the player gets banned, there could be prize pool deductions like we have in professional sports, where players get fined for unsportsmanlike conduct. At the very start of the rules was everything about equipment and the software you're allowed to use on the PCs. Now, first off, they had to bring all their own gear and peripherals, and it specifically mentions bringing headset with a microphone, but also in-ear headphones without a microphone. So I think what they're probably going to make the players do is they're going to make them wear their in-ear earphones playing the game sound and maybe the call, and then they're going to have to wear headphones on top of that where they can use the microphone to talk to each other, but in an attempt to cancel out the noise of hearing the casters and hearing other teams' comms. And just, it is a pretty normal practice for LAN events. Again, the Australian Open that I attended and casted, the players had to wear in-ear earphones and then have noise cancelling headphones on the top. There has been a whole bunch of drama in the past with LAN events outside Fortnite and in Fortnite of players hearing the casters and being given a competitive edge. So this is obviously an attempt to avoid that. Now, the big one, additional software usage. In order to keep the full fairness of the tournament, let everyone configure their peripherals as accurate as possible by using additional software requested by the participants. Any type of software configuration lets you perform multiple actions under pressing one button is prohibited, as it is being treated as an illegal macro. We've talked about that. That is a macro. The problem is a lot of software that people need to download to make their gear work properly, if they have custom DPIs or anything like that, have macros built in as well if you want to turn them on. I don't know if they're now going to be able to use that software. They just have to show they're not using the macros. Now, it'll not be tolerated, and players using it will be disqualified along with their duo partners. Please keep in mind that if you are going to use any type of software to remap your controller, mouse, keyboard buttons, it needs to be shown to the administration of the tournament in order to verify the eligibility of its usage. So that means players will be able to use double movement software if they can prove to the tournament administration that it is not going to be used for macros and it's not cheating. Now, that's going to be interesting because most of the players will be using double movement, usually Keys 2X or Wooting or other software, and I'm guessing that they'll let them use that. But the fact that players are allowed to download software and do different things and change settings, I want to know how strict and how accurate Gamers8 are going to be able to be to making sure that they are not using anything else out there like macros. It's going to be interesting. I guess it's similar to DreamHack, where it is a LAN event. Everyone's on similar setups. Everyone's on a similar connection, but it's not as straightforward and set as what like the skirmish or a Fortnite LAN event would be, like we're going to see with the Invitational, where they will have the PCs completely locked down and you won't be able to change anything. It's interesting to see how these tournaments are handling double movement software though, as that's a big discussion within Fortnite, because you have to download software to do it, and 99.9% of pros use it, so maybe they can let everyone use it, but that software comes with other risks as well, where people can cheat and do things like macros. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.